Hey, what's happening? Tim with Nomad Trading. Today's runner recap. Let me get over to the screen. There we go. Get over here. Had to switch mics, so it took me a second. Got a little bit behind, a few minutes behind. I apologize. I was trying to get in there, but then I switched mics. Anyway, okay, so today it was an exciting day. A frustrating day for me because I only made like $73 on a day when there was tons of stocks moving and I had the right idea on a bunch of them. And all I managed to squeak out was a couple of 30 some dollar trades. Pathetic. Anyway, it is what it is, I guess. So, probably the biggest one that I was watching today was ZOM. And I'll wait. Also, I'll kind of try to go into this a little bit slow so we can wait for other people to join in case there's some folks waiting around to join in. And I need to get this. Sorry, I'm going to share this on Twitter real quick because I forgot to do that. In case you don't follow me on Twitter. I just started doing the Twitter thing. So anyway, yeah. I don't even know what to tell anybody. I know nothing about Twitter, so I just started doing it. I've had an account, but I haven't really done anything with it until recently, and I'm like, hey, I should start doing that. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do this whole things over here on Twitter real quick while some people are joining. Bear with me. Anyway, okay. Tweeted that out. Not the best in the world, but it'll work. Okay, let's jump into this. If you're joining us here, don't forget to hit the like button. I truly appreciate that. Helps YouTube push it out. Haven't had as many live people in here the last few times, so hopefully we can get some more in today on a hotter market day. Lower price stocks, which are not my favorite. That's part of why I didn't end up making a ton of money. But, that's okay too. It's still a green day. You can see up here in the corner of my screen that in this account, I made $34 on a 20-something thousand dollar account. And a small account made $38.82, so $39. So like $73 between the two. Nothing exciting. Anyway, so ZOM was probably the big mover of the day, or the one that had the most eyes on it, I would say, because it was over $1 for the good portion of the day. It started pre-market below that, but then it got over $1 and has traded almost 900 million shares. So tons and tons of volume. Reminds me of BNGO. It was very crowded today. If you were watching this ZOM and you watched the level 2 right here, just all day you'd see 200,000, 100,000 shares on both sides of on the bid and the ask on both sides of level 2. So very crowded to where every tick was almost a battle. So you saw a lot of tight consolidation, and then when it tried to move up past my trend line there, it ended up getting kind of stuffed and breaking down. That was the first sign that I was a little worried. What I was hoping for was like BNGO. BNGO, if you remember that stock from, I don't know, maybe it was a week ago or something. It was like this, where it traded crazy amounts of volume on second or third green day, big green day, and it consolidated a lot, and it was just like this, with trading like 1 billion shares and real tight. But it held up, and then when we got into power hour going into the end of the day, it started to finally open up as shorts started to cover and panic, and people started to go along that might want to hold it overnight, etc. And it ended up being this crazy big move. So I was hoping for that. But when this move here failed, when we had the breakout, but then it failed right back down almost to VWAP, and then it did end up getting down to VWAP. That was worry sign number one, that it might not end up doing what I was hoping for. I did take 5,000 shares on this. That's where this money came from. Is I took 5,000 shares at like 133, I think it was, right here, I believe, and then it popped up, and it just could not break that 134 area. It just seemed like it was stuck there, and I ended up selling and just getting back out of it for fractions of a penny gain or whatever. So anyway, basically not even hardly a trade, but green, I guess. Didn't make my $100 a day goal today, but still a green day. Anyway, I was glad I got out of it. Ended up getting out before the big drop, and then it just took out stop losses, and from there it was kind of a waterfall. It did bounce, but not as quick as I thought. I was looking to see if it could bounce right back up from this move here, and then it might have still been interesting going into the after hours, but then it ended up breaking down even further. It did manage to get back up here and pop through, but that area, the 130 area, kind of the 50 moving average on the 5-minute chart, seems to be acting as resistance, and that's right around the same area that we've been consolidating all day. So what's going to happen to it from here? There was a couple of different trades on it, by the way. I mean, you could have definitely traded this bull flag. These huge drops here were smaller trades. I don't know if they were missed. Sometimes you get ticks that are not accurate, but anyway, I'm not sure what those were, these huge long candle wicks. But anyway, kind of a bull flag type of situation. You got your flagpole, and then it ends up breaking out. So you could have definitely taken a trade there right at market open. It ripped up nicely. Could have taken a scalp right here past the trend line break. And then other than that, it would have been more of a short here. I would not have been buying this VWAP break because of the fact that there's so much consolidation and volume in that area. So it's going to be difficult for it to break past that. As far as where it's going from here, I know I got lots of lines and stuff on here, but if we zoom out some, we can see I've kind of got this line here at the absolute lowest points of yesterday and today. So I would definitely like it to see it hold above that. You never know. It doesn't necessarily mean that it can't keep going if it doesn't hold that, but I would like to see it hold above that. So maybe we get some consolidation into after hours, and maybe we get some continuation tomorrow. You can't ever rule out another move the next day when you've traded almost 900 million shares on the day. So lots of volume, which means a little bit less predictable. Anyway, when you get just crazy amounts of volume to where it's crowded. BIOL, we'll talk about that. That was another one that I traded. I haven't seen it after hours. Apparently today I'm better at telling other people what to do than I am actually trading myself. Because in our little group, I called that one out. The ones that I was mainly watching was ZOM, ENG, GSAT, BIOL. Those were the main ones. BIOL and ZOM were the two that I actually traded. This one, let's see. Got my trend line there, but the trade I took was, let's see, 83 cents, I think was when I bought it. So I bought it here, maybe? No, it wasn't this morning. It was up here. Yeah. Okay. So I bought it, my trade. I actually bought it in here, looking for it, but it was with my small account, the real small E-Trade account. So I bought like 1,500 shares around 83 cents and then sold it at the high of day. I thought that it would get stopped at 90 cents. That would be the first area of resistance. But I told my buddy in my chat group that 87, if it can pull back to 87 and hold 87, which is this previous high, then it would be a good spot to buy. And then, it might continue up, and your next profit taking spot would be taking some maybe at 96 would be the next resistance. And where I'm coming up with this is the daily chart down here, in case you're wondering. And then 96 cents, then we'd be looking at the whole dollar amount, then $1.07, then $1.15. And these are all levels that it hit, and he played it beautifully. I think he's even still holding some of it right now, which is crazy. I'd have to check my phone and see. But I think he's holding a piece of it. I know he got out of some of it at $1 or so, and above $1, and then stopped out part of it at 94 cents because it came all the way down here. And I had told him, if we get a break all the way down here, it's most likely going to be heading back down. But then, of course, we're going into the end of the day, and it doesn't. It doesn't hold that trend line that I had drawn there, and it went down even farther than the lows from this move here, but still recovered. It's another one that in the group text that I'm talking about, I had talked about how it had crazy high volume, and it's got a history of downtrending and then spiking and failing. So what that means is shorts will pile on it. When you get a big move like it's had today. I can zoom in a little bit here. Not that much. I didn't want to zoom in quite that much. So if you can see, we had a nice big downtrending chart. Then you've got several different times where the stock spiked up on the daily chart and failed and went lower. So whenever you've got that, and mind you, this stock was at what was it? Probably like 30 cents or so not long ago. Let's see, December. Yeah, so not even a month ago, this stock was at like 30 cents. So it's up pretty big. So shorts are going to be piling on it. So when you get that situation where you get a little bit of news, you get a whole bunch of volume, you got a stock that's previously had failed spikes and a big downtrend, and it was at 20 some cents, you'll get shorts piling on it every time it hits any of these levels. So then if it can get enough volume to break through that, you get shorts covering. So what we have now is opening up more. It was opening up nicely here. This was what I would say was more squeezing shorts. And then that's what we're getting here, is that it gets into after hours. Shorts don't like to hold overnight. So you start getting covering, and the spread gets, sometimes the spread gets to where it gets a little bit more wide. But anyway, typically after hours, a lot of the times, I talk about this, I know, in a lot of my live videos, but after hours, a lot of times you'll get your biggest moves, and it's because of that. It's the spread, the volume gets a little thinner, the spread gets a little bigger typically. Not really on this one because we're still getting a ton of volume, so the spread has not thinned out, it's not widened. But you get shorts cover, and they get on the run, and they don't want to hold it overnight. They don't want to risk having a giant gap up when they wake up in the morning and this thing's at $2. So you can get this huge short squeeze, kind of exactly what I was looking for with that ZOM, with the huge volume and everything, was this exact move. Only I picked the wrong one. I had my shares at 83 cents and sold them at like 90 cents. Or maybe it was, I think it was actually around the high of the day. No, it was around 90 cents maybe. So sold that way early and ended up getting the move that I was looking for on the stock that I bought. I just got out of it way, way, way early. The idea was right, but my execution was not. So sometimes that's just the way it goes. And ZOM was the one I was really watching to make this move, and it didn't make the move, at least not yet. So are you holding BIOL now? Thanks for joining us. If you're just joining us, I see that we got a few more on here now. So if you're just joining us, welcome. Hit the like button if you don't mind, and talk in the chat if you got anything to talk about, or trades you made, or anything you want to look at. As far as holding it overnight, the areas of resistance I was really watching were down here. We got past all that, and I predicted if we could get over $1, and then push this $1.07 range, and then up here to ultimately $1.15 or so was where the top of this candle was on the daily, and the bottom of all of this support right here would have been. So that's where I was thinking like the ultimate goal would have been was somewhere around the 115 area. Now we're kind of in that no man's land where how high will it go? And I don't know. We've hit the bottom of this candle here. That's kind of where we're sitting right now. But how high will it go? I don't know. It could keep squeezing shorts. It could go to a $1.50. I wouldn't be shocked if it pulled back and then went to a $1.50. But like I told my buddy in the group there, you definitely want to secure profits as you go. So I wouldn't hold it all. I don't know if you've already taken some profit or not, or where you're at on your position size, or if you can, where you're at with PDT and buy and sell and all those different factors. But for me, I would be considering taking some profit. I mean, this is definitely a pretty big move. If we zoom out, let's see where the move started. So it was kind of a breakout at 67 cents roughly. So definitely a pretty good move, because we've 67 cents would be what, $1.34 doubled. So we're working on doubling past the breakout range on this particular move, and then we were in the 20-cent range before that. So yeah, I'd be considering taking profit up here in the 130 area when it's almost doubled that move from the breakout. At least taking half off or a good portion of it, and then you can always hold the rest. That would be my advice anyway. I'm particular, my personal opinion is that I don't like holding stocks overnight. So many different things can go wrong and factors can happen, and before you know it, you have a big loss on your hands. So I don't hold overnight if I can absolutely help it. But sometimes that means missing out on a lot of the move. So there is a chance it goes higher and you miss out on some of the move if you get out. But I also like to talk about things happen in threes in the stock market a lot. And we've got this first big move, second big move, and this would be the third big move today. If you want to count it, it's after hours, so it's a little bit different, but we still have tons of volume. We're trading in the millions down here. So how high will it go? I don't really know, but I would say if it stops at 134, that'd be pretty spot on, because it would be right at double the breakout range. And we're right knocking on that door. The high is 133 as of right now. So, yeah, if it was me, I would take at least some profit. And then from there, it's up to you what you want to do, how high you think it can go. Could it go $1.50? Yeah, it could. You never know. It's gone from under a buck in this move here to 133. So it's had a nice big move. At some point it will get extended to the point, just like this move here, it got extended to the point where it had to pull back. Something's got to give and it's got to pull back. So at some point it'll have to pull back, but you do have a little bit of an advantage after hours sometimes, just because of, like I said, the way it works after hours. Sometimes you get exaggerated moves, but it's also riskier. So anyway, I think I've touched enough on that. I would take some profit and then just hold whatever you're comfortable with from there. Oh, let's see. ENG was another one. This one, this was one of the ones that was up, I would say, the most dollar-wise, or at least the one that I noticed that was up several dollars on the day. I like stocks preferably that are above $1, so especially in the $2, $3, $4 range. So this was more in my wheelhouse, but I didn't see it until it was in here. So I kind of glanced at it at this point, but I'm not going to chase it. It was already up, $6 something from in the fours, so I wasn't going to chase that. Then when I did see it, I drew this trend line here, and I thought if it can hold that going into close, then it might be able to test back up here. So I had a buy order waiting to see what happened here and to see if it could hold, but then it ultimately broke down. I got out of it. And then a lot of times you'll see trend lines become somewhat of resistance. So it kind of, in this case, it's kind of done that where it broke down below, it popped back up, but then it couldn't really break back above that trend line. So I'm not really interested at this point in it, especially because it's after hours. But there was some trades you could take. You could take the, if you saw it break, if you saw this trend line and then you saw it break VWAP and then break above this 630 area where it was previously resistance, that could have been a decent scalp right there. From 630 to high of day would have been 66 cents. So you could have pretty easily made 20, 30, 40, 50 cents on that, scalping that before it ever even really pulled back. But it's one of those stocks where I don't love it when they give back this much of that much of their gain. Sorry, I can't talk. When it's moved that much and then it comes back and has given up half of its gain from that move, I don't like that as much. I would have liked to have seen it stay above VWAP, and I would have been more interested in that curl for sure. That was what kind of scared me out when I've glanced back and forth at it, but then didn't really consider the trade till I thought, hey, if it holds the trend line, maybe it recovers again. It did recover this giant pullback. Maybe it recovers again, but it did not yet. Anyway, so that was kind of that one. As far as trades you could take the high of day break, which would have been around $5, somewhere around 10:55 or so Eastern time. It broke out past the high of day, had some volume come in, and if you take that trade, you would have been a genius if you kept holding it. And then again, my favorite pattern played out here, where you can see if you got your flag pull there, and then you got your consolidation here. I'm just drawing this roughly, by the way, so bear with me, but you got your bull pennant basically in a 5-minute chart, where you got your pull, which was a decent move in itself, even though it doesn't really look like it, but from $5 up to like 570, and then it consolidated, and then it breaks out again. So that would have been another trade you could have taken right there, or at the high of day break again, up here in 570 range. So several trades allowed on that one to the long side. I did not take any of them, but hopefully some of you did if you're watching this. Another one that was kind of along the lines of BIOL was this GSAT stock. Oh man, J Dubman up 900. Nice work. Good to see you back in here too. Haven't chatted with you too much. I noticed you in the comments the other day and chatted back and forth. And before that, I think it had been a little while. Good to see you in here, up 900. That's pretty awesome. I had that day, what was it? Last week, I guess. I think it was the last day of the week. Last week, maybe, where I was up at one point like $1,000 in my CMEG account, and then gave back $300 of it in E-Trade accounts. So I ended up 700 and something odd dollars for the day, 734. That was the best day I've had in a few weeks anyway. So yeah, GSAT going. It's another one. I was watching this one down here, and it's I started to talk about it. This is another one very similar to BIOL, where I didn't see fresh news today, but it's another one with a bunch of volume. You're getting 148 million shares, so pushing 150 million shares. It's another one I was watching because you got the downtrend. You'll see this a lot. You get the downtrend, and then you'll see failed spikes, quite a few failed spikes, more downtrending, etc. So then whenever shorts start seeing it pop up, they'll jump on it because they'll think that, hey, it's just going to fade back down. It's easy money. And then if you can get enough volume in there, typically with news, but you definitely have to have enough volume in there, and you can kind of steamroll over the shorts, which sometimes I'm on the short side of these situations, so that's not ideal either. But you get shorts on the run, and they start covering it at these levels where it breaks out and they get a little scared. They start covering. You combine that with the longs, and you start getting nice big moves like this. So this one still hasn't really opened up, I don't think, quite as much as the BIOL, but I mean it's past pretty much all of its major resistance. If you look at the bottoming area down here and where the resistance is, we've passed all that at this point. Now we're kind of looking. 88 would have been a spot I would have been watching. 87 to 88 cents. Now I'd be looking up here at 99 or $1, which is always where we'd be looking. Any stock that's under $1, when it starts approaching $1, that's where you definitely want to be watching it. Don't buy it if it's extended up to the dollar. If it's got some move left in it, you may see it break through fairly easily, but don't buy it if it's looking really extended when it's getting up to that dollar, because a lot of the times you'll get rejected off the 50-cent marks and the whole dollar marks, and you'll get a pullback, and then you can get a better entry. It still may break $1, but at least you get a better entry, and you're not stressed out the whole time because you bought the top right at $1. So that would be my advice on that. This one here, let's see. Sometimes you can get the tops of where stocks are going to go by drawing your top trend line on the day also. So sometimes it seems crazy, but I've done this before where trend lines are really key, by the way. Just to touch on that for a second, because I haven't in a few days. I don't think I've really talked about that, but it's something that has changed my trading game, or for the better, like profitability wise. I use way more trend lines, drawing like bull flags and bear flags and bull pennants, and just using overall trends of the highs and the lows of the day, and all kinds of lines I draw on my screen now. And having the different time frames has been a big difference for me too, going from where I was at like a year ago, losing a lot of money all the time, to going where I'm at now, where consecutively, I have to go back and look, but I want to say this is like 14 green days in a row or something like that. Yesterday I didn't trade, I don't believe, so that doesn't really count, I guess. But anyway, and before that, pretty good streak before that. Anyway, the difference, I guess, for me anyway, one of the two differences, I would say, would be from losing tons of money to becoming more on the profitable side and more consistent, has been using a lot more trend lines, and starting to recognize how often stocks will follow the trend lines. Like that, a lot of the time is where people are watching, buying and selling, etc. That one wouldn't have been very good, but anyway. And then having multiple time frames. I used to pretty much trade on, if you look at my how to set up E-Trade. Oh, hey, what's up, Nafisa? I'm getting longer winded today, I know. I apologize, but I actually have time today to sit here and just chat and talk about all the stocks, and it's a hotter stock day today, so it's a good opportunity to chat and actually spend some time going over some of the stuff, and maybe somebody will watch this back later or whatever, and it will help them. For me, a big difference was when I started out. If you watch my very first video, which ironically has the most views of any of my videos, it's got like 40-some thousand views. And on that one, I have my scanner down here, and then I've got one big chart right here. See what I'm talking about with this? I just was saying that it seemed crazy a few minutes ago that could end up being where the stock goes, that it ends up that high. But then here we are, pushing up to that area already, just a minute, well, not a minute, maybe like 5 or 7 minutes later, we're already getting close to that level. So crazy. Starting to open up now. This is what I was saying about how I didn't think this was opened up as much as BIOL had. I think it's BIOL, right? BIOL, yeah. So BIOL, you start seeing these bigger candles. That's when you start seeing shorts really panicking. They start covering, and it starts to really open up, as they say. At this point, there's still, throughout all of these moves, there's still hope that, hey, this is just going to fade back down. I'm good on this. But then you start crossing like the $1 mark and start getting up there where you've passed all these levels of resistance. It's after hours, and all of a sudden you can see these big moves where the stock starts opening up. If it ends up bouncing off that trend line, then that would be funny. A little bit predictable, but make me look good. So that'd be cool stock if you want to just make me look good and bounce off my top trend line there. That'd be cool, and then pull back. And then keep running for anybody that's still holding this. Anyway, back to what I was saying. My very first video with like 40-some thousand views on it, I have a big chart right here, and I would switch back and forth between the 1 minute and the daily, and that was pretty much all I used. So if I was going to give some advice, if you've been trading a while and you're not profitable and you're trying to look for things to try to get you over that edge, I would definitely say studying patterns, using more trend lines and guidelines, and trying to recognize the patterns and drawing trend lines in there, and then buying. And it helps you mentally knowing where to buy and sell. So it helps with your confidence in the trade, which is big. Is it going to break? Is it going to go? Is it going to keep going? It could keep going. There's a chance. Or it could make me look smart. Anyway, but the big changes for me anyway, like I said, drawing a lot more trend lines, guidelines, etc., and then chart recognition or pattern recognition, studying different patterns. And you can Google stock patterns and look at tons of different patterns and then try to start recognizing them as they play out. And then the other big thing is using different time frames, because I use it's breaking my trend line. No, stop doing that. I wanted to look smart. You're going too high. Anyway, it's really getting opened up now. Look at that on the 1 minute chart over here, really opening up. Anyway, so yeah, the using different time frames, like having different time frames up, and then I have the indicators on my 5 minute and 1 minute. So now that's what I use, is mainly the 5 minute and 1 minute. Every once in a while the 15 minute, but the 1 minute and the 5 minute are typically what I'm trading off of, and the daily is typically what I'm looking at to find areas of resistance and support. You can look at intraday areas of resistance and support as well, of course. I mean, you have to see that. But then if you're looking like, how high could this possibly go? You start looking at the daily. And also, the daily is a lot of the times a good indicator of what is going to happen. Like this stock, same as BIOL. I called it. I wish I was smart enough to actually, or confident or whatever, enough to actually buy it whenever I'm calling it out myself and just go all in on it with 20,000 shares or something, 30,000 shares, whatever, and then hold it. Because I talked about this one and BIOL and how they had enough volume that I thought that they were probably going to start getting shorts covering and end up with big moves. And both of them did end up with all day big moves and open it up at the end. And here I am sitting just watching it. So that is quite unfortunate, and that's the next step in my trading journey personally, is getting more confident and just pushing the button more. More and more and more I see that I'm knowing the correct thing to do and I'm reading the stocks correctly. I'm just not hitting the button to buy it. Or another frustrating thing is that CMEG, I can't short anymore because apparently there was some kind of glitch. I don't know if it was just me or other CMEG customers, but somehow I could short anything. And with CMEG for like the last year, and it was awesome. No matter what the stock was, I had two options. I could buy it or sell it in the different accounts because I could always short it in CMEG. Now, I can't short anything unless it's like a blue chip stock. It's pretty much hard to borrow at CMEG, just like it was on E-Trade the whole time. So I'm pretty depressed about that because I have made I think in that CMEG account, I've made like $1,500 in the last, just in the last week or two, maybe 2 weeks, shorting primarily. So it's pretty depressing to go from that to all of a sudden it's turned off like a faucet and you can't short anything. Literally, I've tried to short all of these different low float stocks when I've thought they were going to pull back. I've gone to CMEG and tried to short them just to see if I could, and every one of them is now hard to borrow. So pretty depressing. Okay, let me get back over here to the chat. Sorry. Holding GSAT too. Good job, J Dubman, man. Today was such a more exciting day, even though it was frustrating for me because, it's frustrating to know what's going to happen, to call it out, to see it playing out, and then end up with like a $72, 73 whatever dollar green day. Very frustrating. And I know that there was times where I would have been very happy to make $73, and $100 a day is my goal. So it's not, that much below my goal, but it's very frustrating to be trading. I could buy between my three accounts, there's definitely over 30 grand. So making $73 or whatever, and that's without buying power. So it's definitely not exciting whenever you have a crazy day with all these huge moving stocks and you're sitting there watching them knowing what they're going to do and you end up like $73 in profit. That's just a little bit depressing. Anyway. This thing's pulling back now a bit. Going to test the previous high here. It might have actually just tested the previous high from over there, right there. Yep, exactly. And sometimes I try to catch that too. If I think there's going to be a pullback, sometimes I'll put a buy order. I'll put a buy order out there, and I'll go ahead and actually have it, sitting there at the top of the high of day. Because a lot of times you'll see a flash down and a bounce up. Now, I don't do that very big with big size, and I don't do it all the time, but sometimes if I think it's really extended and it's going to flash down, I'll just put a buy order and sit it on top of the previous high, and it'll flash down, buy it, and then I'll sell right into the pull back up on the 5-minute candle. Anyway, okay, let's get back in the chat. Sorry. FUV, Nomad Traders wants to look at FUV. We'll check it out. Oh, nope, never mind. He already left. Sorry, Nomad Traders. I get to rambling a lot, I know. I'm sorry. That's why these things turn into like an hour long whenever I actually have time to sit here and do it. They're always an hour long. It goes by so fast. I've been sitting here anyway, for 38 minutes doing this, and it's just like going by like that. Got a couple of new joiners in here. If you're joining new, hit the like button if you don't mind, and say what's up in the chat. Trying to get the old YouTube algorithm to push this out to more people. Let me see. What software are you using? SD said. Okay, I use eTrade Pro, and I use Sterling Trader Pro at CMEG Broker. Right now, that's the only. My 3 accounts are at just those 2 different places, but I have thought about opening up other accounts, and I'm just always toying with that idea, but you do have to go through a process to open accounts. That's the reality of it. So it kind of stinks, honestly. If you gotta go through all the motions, sometimes like with different brokers, they all have their different rules on what hoops you have to jump through, and send them your income and send them your statements and your bank statements, and I don't know, whatever ridiculous things they make you do to get a new brokerage account open. So some of them are easier. I think the more like Robinhood and Webull and them, I think, are easier, and they're not as in depth to get an account. I've thought about Webull. The one that I'm thinking about opening would be Webull. Let me look back over here. If you combine and get a 25K account, you can avoid PDT. Yeah, I've got an account. This account's over that. They're supposed to be making it a margin account, but they have not done that. So I'm having to trade it as a. It's not under PDT, but it's a cash account. I was on hold with them the other day forever, and then ended up getting hung up on. And then the wait time on the chat was like, I don't even know, like 3 hours or something. So I haven't cared enough to convert that account to margin. It's just been cash. But it doesn't have the PDT. It just has to wait to settle, but it will be above PDT on that one anyway. And then CMEG, you don't have PDT. So the only one with PDT is that little bitty E-Trade account, which I have linked with a debit card, and I use money in and out of that as like a checking account as well as trading with it. I don't use Robinhood, but I know lots of people that do. I would say it's probably the most popular broker, if I was going to guess. Or it's definitely up there. A ton of people use Robinhood. I think Webull has kind of been stepping on Robinhood's toes, though. I've heard better things about Webull and their charting and whatnot. So that's why I've considered getting that, is because it seems like Webull might be starting to take away some of Robinhood's thunder. And, I wouldn't mind kind of getting into one of those more of like a mobile type broker that starting investors a lot of times find themselves using. It's not really for day traders so much. For day trading, even E-Trade is not very great for day trading, honestly. CMEG is better for day trading, but Webull and Robinhood and those definitely not made for day trading. Some people do it, but they're not really designed for that. They're more for swing trading, investing in swing trading particularly. So that's what naturally tons of new traders find themselves at Robinhood and Webull. And for that reason, I've thought about opening an account at one of those and putting $1,000 or a couple $1,000 or something in it, just for content purposes mainly, kind of just exploring the platform and making videos about it, etc. What about you guys? Oh, Nomad Trader's still here. Okay, I'll look at it. Okay, let's see. IBIO is popping just now. I don't trust Webull. It could be another Alibaba story. Yeah, it could be. What about Robinhood? And I don't know a ton about either one of them. Not a fan of Webull desktop, but the app is good. So you have Webull. Let's see. Okay, let's jump back over. So I almost called the top so far, but I missed it by like a penny. Dang it. Why'd you have to go up that 1 penny? I could have looked so smart. It may end up ripping back up too. You never know. It could end up, it popped really nicely back up off of that previous high very quickly. So if it can hold up here, we'll have to watch and see. If it can hold up here, it may end up going back to retest that trend. IBIO, we're going to look at, is that the one that you said? Oh wait, I was going to get to Nomad first. FUV, I think it was. Yeah. I have not looked at that one today, so that's a new one to me. Okay, so let's see. This is 3 years of it down here, so we've definitely broken way out. The breakout here around $9, and it went, wow, all the way up to over $20. Okay, nice. Let's look at 1 year, zoom in just a little bit here. Okay, so we're getting up here. The high of that, what was the high of that day? I like to look at the daily chart whenever I first start looking at a stock that somebody asked me about. The high 1865 of that day, it looks like. 2020. Just looking at the different highs and opens and closes of these previous days over here that could end up being resistance. So 1865 was the high over there, and we got pretty much a perfect double top happening right there. I can zoom in a little bit more. I don't know if you guys can even see this on your screen. It's kind of small on mine. It's a big screen and it's still kind of small. But yeah, I would say we got that. If I can get my little thingy there, almost a perfect double top so far. So that would definitely be the first level to watch, would be right in where that high is, which would be 1867-ish. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. The 1865 to 1870 range, pretty much where, yeah, right in there. So that's definitely your first area to watch. If it can break past that, then you're going to be watching this next high, which is 2020. So you're going to watch the whole dollar mark at 19 and then at 20. And those are all areas to watch, and just see how the stock reacts to that. Can it break through and hold it? Does it get rejected by those levels? And then see what happens. But yeah, hopefully it can break out even more and break out past that level there and keep going. You never know. It could also curl back down, and then I would be watching maybe 1680, 17, this range right in here, and the top of that candle, kind of watching that to see if it pulls back. Does it maybe hold that and then curl up? And then your overall trend line could come into play. If you were to draw kind of a trend line, if you're looking at it like a long-term hold scenario, then in theory you would want it to keep trending upward on its overall trend. So that would be my thoughts on that. As far as day trading it, would have been difficult to day trade other than to buy the breakout past the previous high of day, around $18 or so, and then I would have scalped it there. But it is holding up. I mean, if you're holding it. Yes, swing play. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you're swinging it, it is holding up not bad. So that's a good sign. I mean, as of now, it had a nice move, pulled back a little bit, but it's still holding up here. We don't see it breaking down below the 50 moving average or below VWAP or the 200, showing signs like it's breaking down at this point. So if we zoom out a little bit here, kind of look at these moves, see like that day where it's breaking all those levels and shooting back down. Doesn't mean, I mean, even if it did do that, it doesn't mean that it's not going to head higher. It depends how long you want to hold it. Sometimes, it could drop back down here in the 17s, consolidate, and then pop back up. You just got to kind of read it and determine what your particular plan is on how long you want to hold it. IBIO, I think, was the other one somebody said was breaking out. Oh my, yeah. Looking nice there. Looking down here, where are we at? Let's see, on the daily chart. So yeah, we're coming up into this area of consolidation, possible resistance. So far, it hasn't really. Let me zoom out just a little bit more. 1 year typically is what I look at. This could end up being a decent swing play too, just because of the fact that stocks love to mirror themselves. I talk about that, quite a bit too, but you'll see mirrored images in stocks a lot of the time. It is breaking out 41 million shares, so it's got pretty decent volume. Pretty decent volume after hours, actually. Trading a couple 100,000 shares per 5 minutes, so not bad. Anyway, you'll see stocks mirror a lot of the time, so I don't know in this particular case, it doesn't really mirror it exactly because it did end up kind of coming up before it had faded down. But in the stock market, just overall, you'll see mirror images happen a lot. That may not make a lot of sense, and I don't really know how to describe it better than that. But sometimes you'll see like this happen, and it goes up and comes down, and then it'll curl, and it'll curl back to right around that same level, before it fades back or continues on. You just see a lot of mirrors. I use E-Trade, so Nomad uses E-Trade. They do suck for day trading. Yep. Not a big fan of it for day trading. There's worse brokers out there, but it's definitely glitchy. And running two programs at the same time, I run CMEG and E-Trade Pro simultaneously on different screens. And so like my E-Trade today, at one point in time when I actually wanted to take a trade, and I'm trying to take a trade, and all of a sudden it says down the bottom left-hand corner where it says connected down there, it's not connected. All of a sudden I lose my feed and I can't see, nothing's happening on the tape. Level 2's dead, it's just dead. And I'm like, okay, is my internet down? What's going on? And I look at CMEG account on the screen, the other screen right in front of me, and it's, going fine. So it's just an E-Trade issue, E-Trade glitch. So I see that a lot, way more than I do with CMEG anyway. Very rarely do I see glitchy situations like that with CMEG, with Sterling Trader Pro software, but with E-Trade Pro, definitely a lot of the time, not a lot of the time, but I would say at least once a week there's something where I'm, some kind of a glitch, something where I buy and then it doesn't get filled for longer than it should, or disconnects and I got to wait for it to connect at a key moment. There's a lot of times at open where it'll almost freeze. Like at the market open, it's almost like it's overpowered by too many people or something. And I'll be looking at market open to take a trade, and I'll click the buy button, and it'll just sit there and do nothing. It doesn't bring up anything. It doesn't place the trade. It just is like frozen. A lot of times at open, like there's too many people on it or something. And none of that ever happens with CMEG. So as far as day trading goes, CMEG's Sterling Trader Pro is definitely more reliable, quicker, better fills, just better on all levels for day trading, honestly. Other than the commissions and fees part, that sucks, but it is what it is. Like Robinhood for zero commissions, easy to use. I think Robinhood is good on the level of a lot of traders have gotten started using Robinhood. So I think it's kind of like a good gateway. A lot of people figure out if they like playing with the stock market or not using Robinhood. So, and then you kind of develop over time what your plan is and your strategies and what you're better at and what you're not so good at and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's good for that. You can kind of try it and get your toe dipped in the water with Robinhood or Webull or one of those accounts. And then if you like swing trading and investing, there's not necessarily any reason to switch. If you like day trading and want to get into something that's a little more like that, you may end up having to switch. But it just depends on what you want to do. You can add your referral link to your videos and get free stocks. That is true. I know that everybody does that, and I've thought about jumping on that bandwagon. I have considered that. I probably should be doing that. I actually don't make anything off of YouTube other than the AdSense, which I'm very thankful for that. I mean, that's been more than I expected it ever would be. But Yeah, I should definitely do some stuff like that. I should put some referral links and affiliate links and things in the descriptions and pitch them in my videos and try to get some added revenue. It would be pretty cool to do that. I just haven't. Tons of people do the Webull, the free stocks with Webull thing, which I'm not really sure what the person pitching that gets, like what their commission is, but I definitely see tons of YouTubers talking about get your free stocks with Webull when you sign up with the link. So I'm sure there's something to that. Dun, 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 dun. 4 free stocks for both. Interesting. Huh. Well, that's worth it. I mean, 4 free stocks, that'd be cool. I should probably be doing that. Should probably start doing some Webull pitching and all that. I did try to do a pitch for, what was it? Acorns. I did a video on Acorns, although it was probably not a very good video. It was a while back. And I had a referral link on that, affiliate link on that. I don't think anybody ever actually used it. I never went and checked to see if anybody used it recently, or if it's even active or whatever. But I actually used that, so I thought, hey, I'll try that. The affiliate commission on it at the time was like, it was pretty good. If you got like 5 people to sign up, it was like $300 or something. So I thought, it's worth that. I'll try that. And then even with the video on it and putting the link in a couple of videos in the description, and didn't ever get any people to sign up for it. But I actually like it because it's a way, for me anyway, it's how I pay for my like extra just stuff that you don't plan on that goes wrong, or like if you have like my plumbing issue type of deal. I didn't get to use it for that because I'd already used it for my kids' Christmas, but like that's why I started using it. It rounds up to the nearest whatever. You can set it all different settings and stuff, but it rounds up and then puts it in an investment account for you. It charges you a little bit of money, but not very much. And like I only had it 3 or 4 months, and I forget what the settings are that I have it on, but they're not that aggressive, and it doesn't take that much out of my account where I notice it or anything. It just rounds up to whatever, like the nearest dollar or something. And I had like $500 and some dollars or $600 already at the end of the year for my kids' Christmas. So boom, just took that out, and it's already at like 150 or something now, I think. So that's what I like about it, because it just rounds those change up into an account that it invests for you. And yeah, it costs a little bit of money, but to me, I like it because I never think about it. I don't care about that extra 20 cents at McDonald's that it rounds up, or 50 cents or whatever. Never miss that money, and then over time it adds up, and before you know it, you got several $100s in there, $1,000 in there, whatever. So yeah, that's why I pitched that, was just because I actually use it. But maybe if I used Webull, opened an account there, I might like that. Y'all got me thinking. Maybe I should be doing more of that. I need to get on the Discord idea that people keep bringing up. I need to do that, and I need to do some kind of affiliate type situation. Try to get some income. Affiliate stuff would have been good on that stimulus video. I made that stimulus video, and I don't even know what it's at now. Let me check. It's like my best performing video, and it has nothing to do with the stock market. That's the power of, like, the stock market is just very, I don't know, it's more niche to make videos about the stock market. But making a video about stimulus and stuff like that, I actually had the problem with that, so I thought, hey, I'll go ahead and make a video about it because I'm actually dealing with that problem. And yeah, the second video I just made yesterday has almost 300 views, maybe even over 300 views now. And the other one is at almost 4,000 views, and it's only been 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, less than 5 days. So dang near 1,000 views a day on that. It's kind of funny. spend all this time trying to do stock market stuff, and then I make videos about having trouble getting your second stimulus, and they outperform any of my stock videos. It pushed me over the 2000K mark too. I was at like 1,949 or I don't know, 1,950 or something like that before the first stimulus video, and I'm at 2,070 something now. So I've gained well over 100 subscribers from those two stimulus videos. I don't even know if I'll make any more stimulus videos or not, but kind of makes you think. It makes you see people like Meet Kevin. Anybody know who Meet Kevin is? He makes stimulus videos every day, like 2 or 3 a day. The dude's a workaholic, I swear, and killing it, making literally millions of dollars on YouTube, making stimulus videos. And then it makes you think, like, maybe I should do stimulus videos instead of stock videos, make a bunch of money like Kevin. But the other side of that, though, is, I know I'm rambling, the other side of that is that they don't pay as well. The per view payout on the stimulus videos way lower than any of my stock videos. Plug killing it. Let me check out Plug. So SZ ask, yeah, he's a genius. He's really good at a lot of things. Meet Kevin is a genius. Plug is crazy. Wow, look at that. That is crazy. Thing was at 30 some bucks a few days ago. Now it's pushing 71.50. Actually, it's already been over 71.50. Crazy. That is a crazy move. I like it. A little higher price, but I could have done it in my one account. Or the CMEG account, I guess. But nice breakout too. I mean, it right there at 65. It didn't even really scare you out too much. I mean, you could have bought that high of day break at 65.50, or even a little bit below that, maybe at 65, and you wouldn't have even had to risk below 65 because it didn't even go below 65 before it took off. That would have been a nice breakout. Good call. Let me see. Copy Clay Trader, do stock reviews on overhyped stocks. A bunch of people will pour into your channel. Can you review THMO? And I do kind of copy him a little. I spam stock twits. Okay, THMO. To answer, somebody asked something up here. Is trading your full-time job? Right now, I actually don't have a full-time job. It's a complicated story of a long story of how my union job completely screwed us over. The company screwed us over, then the union screwed us over. So it was insane. It was like the longest strike that I've ever heard of. We were on strike for like 5 months or something. It was literally insane. I went from standing out in front of the building on strike in 100 and some degree weather to standing out there the whole time, all the way till it was like 20 degrees and freezing, and standing around burn barrels on strike. And ultimately the union ended up taking this terrible deal, and we all everybody but a few people lost their jobs. It was a gigantic mess. And yeah, so that is no more. So now I trade, I do YouTube, I work with my little brother's media company. My little brother has a media company. So I do job like contract out to him on that, and then take care of my kiddos. That's pretty much it at the moment. Haven't decided. Have not applied for any jobs. Don't really want a job, so I don't know. I need to start scaling up my trading, I guess, and spending more time doing this, and then maybe I would be a full-time trader. Yeah, it was it was pretty bad. 70K a year job with amazing benefits, and I only worked half the year, like 3 on 4 off, 4 on 3 off, long days, but like super easy work, and good money, and work half the year. So I actually loved it. And then yeah, they gave us a horrible contract that we had to vote down. Basically, the company tried to take advantage of us because of the pandemic going on, and they thought they could push us into this terrible contract. And when we voted it down and ended up striking, they never gave in. And then the union didn't give in either for many months, and told us that we should not give in. And then behind our backs, they took this deal where we got severance pay. So I got a few $1,000s in severance pay out of it. That was it. It was pretty horrible. But that's how it goes. On to a new chapter. Maybe that's the chapter that will lead to me trading full time, and if so, that'd be great. Or YouTube. Maybe YouTube will take off and end up. I make right now like $350 a month from YouTube, so that's not nothing. It's not a lot, but it's more than I expected to make from YouTube. So let me jump back up on here and read through here. I forget the one you wanted me to look at. THMO. Yes, I gotta get that in there. I get to rambling and I can't keep up, so I'm sorry. I know I ramble a lot. Whenever I do my videos, I end up shooting these videos and spending like hours editing, because I have to edit all my rambling out of my actual videos. Trading Fraternity, I don't follow, but I do know who they are, and I have watched some of their videos. Let's see. Oh, look at this blessing. Now you can focus more on trading and growing your YouTube account, because both can pay really. Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right. Play guitar and sing. Yep, true. I've been doing more of that. You don't have to answer, but how much do you trade with, and how much do you average a month? No, it's not too much. I show it every day. Every day I show what I make and lose. Every day that I trade. Some days I don't trade. But like today, this account's only $1,153, which I use like a checking account. So you'll see that one go up and down, because I'll pull money out of there and pay bills, and then trade with it too, put money in it, etc. This is an IRA. So I trade with it. It's got 27,000 something odd dollars in it. And it's not margin, but I'm going to turn it into a margin account so I can actually trade it more, because right now I have to wait for it to settle and all that, which is kind of like the PDT. I just started trading with that. I had that at a different broker, and then I thought, I'll just move it over here to E-Trade, where I can play with it if I want to. So I moved that over. And then in CMEG, I have, let me see. I got to minimize this real quick, so bear with me. 4,025 in the CMEG account. So the other part of that, What else did you ask, Dean? Let me see. How much do you trade with? How much do you average a month? Very little, because I lost a shit ton of money. I swore the YouTube gods are going to hate me now. But I lost probably, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but definitely like 50 grand one year, like my first year trading, just playing like an idiot, taking huge positions. Probably, um, I don't know, 20. I would say overall, over my first several years of trading, I lost somewhere around 70 grand if I was guessing. I'd have to go back and look at all the numbers, but it's definitely somewhere in there over the course of the first several years of trading. And I'm just now getting to the point after this is, I think, year 5 since I started, to where I'm getting to where I feel like I actually know what I'm doing. So I know that's kind of sad, but it's real. It's the reality. So I sucked at trading for a very long time. I had no strategy at all. And hopefully, me sucking will help you guys not suck so much. Don't be like me and have like 50 grand in your account and take, there was times where I took, because on you get leverage and stuff, and like with E-Trade when I first started out, there was times where I had $100,000 positions. Um, I mean, come on, $100,000 position as a new trader, within my first year of trading, not having any kind of strategy, just like, oh, that's going to go up, and I'd end up with like $100,000 positions, and it'd be moving. I'd lose 1,000, 2,000, and it'd be nothing. There was days where I gained, a few $1,000s. I've talked about this in a lot of videos, but it just like is such a roller coaster. There was one day I shorted this stock and the company got bought out, a biotech that got bought out. So overnight I woke up and I was down over $10,000. It was like almost 11,000 at one point. To just wake up to that, like, oh look, wake up and check my account and I'm down $11,000 from the day before, and I'm not rich by any means. So to me, like $11,000, I was like, what? It was devastating, absolutely devastating. I didn't trade for weeks after that. I ended up, I think it ended up being like a $9,000 loss because I timed it right where it kind of recovered a bit and I got out of it. So it was a little less than $10,000 loss. That's my biggest loss, single trade loss. I've had some $4,000 and $5,000 winners, but never a $10,000 winner. So anyway, long story short, I'm getting long-winded again, I know. So what I ended up doing eventually, when I finally came to my senses after a long time of being an idiot, I pulled all my money out of my accounts and was like, this is stupid. You need to trade really small. You need to trade with real money. I like the idea of paper trading, but there's no emotion involved at all. Even with trading small, like I do now, there's very little emotion involved, but at least there's some, like you have something on the line. So now I trade really small. I've started taking a little bigger positions, but typically I'm only trying to risk like $100 or $200. Losing $300 in the E-Trade account the other day, I only did that because I was up at that point 900 or 1,000 in my CMEG account, so I took a little bigger risk and bought a little bigger position size on my E-Trade account, thinking, I'm up a lot over here, so it's okay to take a spot over here. Ended up losing 300 on that. So, but that was one of my bigger loss days. I try to lose less than $300 a day. So that gives you an idea of my position size. And I'm getting way behind on all this, all this chat stuff. Sorry. But anyway. Oh, let's see. You want to quit your job and trade full time? Up 14K this month. That's awesome. That is awesome. I'm up like, I want to say around 2K between the 3 accounts in the last 2 or 3 weeks. which is not much. But I mean, when you only trade very small size and you know only risk so much, you're not going to have huge days. Like I could, when I was trading that stock today, you know, I could have bought 30,000 shares, but I'm not ever going to do that. I'm not going to until I get to where I'm finally starting to get to that point. Maybe where you're at, if you're thinking about that, Dave, and having like 14K up in a month. I mean, that I can totally get that. Let me get caught up over here on the chat. I don't mean that in a like a sarcastic tone either. Dave, you said you made 14K this month. Way more fun than construction. If you can make 14K a month or even close to that consistently, yeah, I would never be working another job. The whole reason I got started, and probably all of you guys got started, is because of the ease of it. Like if you can get good at trading, which of course it's extremely hard, almost everyone fails at it. They say 90% of traders fail, but I would say it's more like 93% or maybe even more than that of actual day traders fail. So it's definitely not easy by any means. It's extremely difficult. Probably one of the hardest things you can do statistically versus like other jobs. You know, I doubt there's a 90-some% chance of you getting fired working, you know, anywhere. So it's extremely difficult. But we all started doing it for the same reason, I'm sure, because if you get good at it, if you can master it, what is there that's better than sitting at home clicking buttons and watching money appear in your account? It's like the most amazing thing ever. Trade less, profit more. Nomad Trader said, exactly. That's very true. I was way over trading at one point. Less is more, yes. Let's see. Sorry, I'm new to the channel. I think I found it researching CMEG and the feds have been getting it. How's it? That's how it goes. My first year, so I'm just reading all the comments that I didn't get to yet. Lost 10K, 75% of my net worth at the time. Yeah, I know how you feel, man. At that time, I was probably I would say my net worth was probably like 30K or so at that point. So I lost like a third of my money, probably somewhere around there in that one trade, because I'd already lost a ton of money before that, just over time. And then like at that point, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm a complete moron, losing $10,000 over. That's the last time that I've held. You kind of burn your hand on the stove and learn, though. That's the last time that I've held a stock short overnight, just because of that. It literally went up like $20. I didn't even have a very big position, I don't think. I'd have to go back and look at it, but it went up like $20 a share on like a $20 stock. I mean, it like doubled in value. So it was one of those things that doesn't happen hardly ever, but it just happened to happen while I was short on it. So, you know, it is what it is. But I was, I don't want to say I was suicidal, but I was extremely depressed for a couple of weeks over it. I'm like, wow, you know, losing that much money is so stupid. So many better things I could have done with that money. Oh, let's see. Just buy and hold. I lost a bunch too. Yeah, honestly, like a lot of the times, especially in this bull market we've been in, buying and holding has really been better than trading a lot of the time, especially if you're not good at it, which I don't classify myself as very good at it. So I think I'm starting to get there, because I'm actually starting to have strings of profitable weeks. And when you can have, you know, 2 or 3 weeks of profit, you're going to have down days for sure. There's no doubt about it. I mean, even Ross is kind of my hero with Warrior Trading. He's the one that I found that when I started kind of turning things around. When I pulled all my money out was about the same time I found Ross. and started like turning things around and seeing patterns better and taking smarter trades and things like that. And yeah, even he's down $40,000 today, and he's on a string of losers. So you're never gonna have like all winning days, but it is what it is. If you can string together enough profitable days that you feel confident in it, then a lot of it's confidence. Then you can scale up, and I'll start scaling up if I can keep stringing together enough days to where I feel like, hey, I actually know what I'm doing. I need to keep just buying more and more shares. Humbling for sure. Nomad Trader says, amen. Amen to that. Yes. Do I always set a stop loss? Almost always. Yes. On the stop loss. I did not used to set stop losses, and a lot of stop losses is knowing where to set it. So what I will say on stop losses, and this has been my what I've been, hey, first day live day trading, that's awesome, cool. What I'll say about that, and this is what I told a friend of mine in my group chat. I've been stock trading now for like 5 years, and I've got my whole group of friends has slowly but surely started trading, and so I've become like this mentor kind of thing. Even though I'm not a guru, I'm not amazing at trading, but I know more than people, which is kind of the whole premise of my YouTube channel. Like I have people that hate on me and stuff sometimes about how I'm not making tons of money and all that. But, that's not the premise of my channel. The premise of my channel is to get people from like, I don't know anything at all about stocks to being able to read some charts and recognize some patterns and see what's going on and actually place trades. So that's kind of the purpose of it. If I evolve to where I'm making $10,000 a day and awesome like Ross, then it will evolve with me. But as of this point, I'm honest about how I am. I show what I make and lose right there on the screen every day, as long as I'm doing this live thing. And yeah, you can see that I trade small, and I make my goal is $100 a day, and I try to lose $100 or less a day, 200, 300 max. I try not to lose more than that, and so I base my position size around that. Anyway, got sidetracked again, rambling. I know. I'm sorry. As far as stop losses go, my opinion on that, my advice on that, is learning where to set them. So if I can find like a good example, he was trading this IBIO, and it would have been like somewhere in like let's see. Trying to think of a good example of a stop loss scenario. Let's say that your theory is that I don't know. Let's say your theory is that your stop loss is going to be set at 147 here because it's not going to go below that. That's support. So you wouldn't set your stop loss there. You need to set it lower, considerably lower. Not like a ton lower, but considerably lower. So that way it won't pop down and stop you out and then go back up. Because when stop losses get hit, typically there's a whole bunch of people with stop losses set at the same like obvious level. So you'll have that a lot of the time, where if you got kind of an obvious level where the stock is most likely going to be holding up, and it'll jump down at that, it'll take out stop losses like a waterfall, shoot down and then shoot back up as people buy it back up. Well, you don't want to be stuck in that position where you got stopped at the bottom. So I guess what I'm getting at, my advice would be learn where to set stops at, and then set them slightly below where you think everybody else is setting them at, and just take a slightly smaller position size so that you can afford to take the risk of the slightly larger stop loss. That's what I've done anyway. Like I set stops most of the time because it takes my hands out of it. If I don't set stop losses, then a lot of the times I'll find myself trying to rationalize holding it. And that's how, back in the day, I would end up with my bag holding scenarios, because you can talk yourself into like any stock trading scenario. I could find a reason for anything. You give me any stock in any situation, and I can tell you some kind of technical indicator, some kind of reason, some kind of stock twits information or news that's going to tell you to keep holding that position. You can talk yourself into it. So that's why I set stop losses, is because I go into it with a plan. And I would say this is another big thing that's changed from me losing a bunch of money to knock on wood, becoming profitable and more consistent, is I don't go into a trade unless I have a plan. So just because I think the stock's moving fast and I need to jump in it, I don't jump in it. I've already thought out where the jumping in point is. I've thought about how big of size I want to take. I've thought about where my stop's going to be. I have a plan before I do it. I don't plan my trades out the day before, because I don't see how anybody can do that. When people are doing like watch lists and stuff from the day before, you can definitely watch the runners from the day before to see if they continue on. But it's hard to come up with a definite stock list, because every day there's new stocks hitting the scans and new stocks that are up 50, 70%, whatever, the gappers. And most of the time they're different than the day before. Not always. I mean, sometimes you get multi-day runners. But anyway, so you kind of got to do it on the fly. You can't really, in my opinion, a lot of times it's hard to have a plan. Now, swing traders are better at that, and I'm not very good at swing trading. So they could tell you a better way of having a better long-term plan. But for me anyway, before I enter any trade, I have a plan, which includes like my position size and everything, and I know where my stop's going to be. So say I'm risking off of the 50 moving average right here, I'm not going to set my stop right there. I'm going to say like, okay, if it breaks that 50 moving average, it's probably going to hit this previous high right here, and it might bounce off of that. So I'm going to set my stop a little below that. So I'm not just setting it off the 50, I'm going to set it off the 50. But if it does break through that for a split second, what's it going to bounce off of? Probably right there. So, I'm going to set my stop a little lower. So when I take my position, I'm going to have that in mind and take a slightly smaller position, knowing that I'm taking a little bit of a bigger risk from the distance of my position to my stop loss. So that's my advice on stop losses. And in my opinion, it takes the opportunity out of your hands to become a bag holder. You just have a plan. You put your stop in when you take the trade. And if you get stopped out, you don't look back. You don't go jump right back in and, end up chasing it. I don't anyway. I just take a step back and then say, hey, reevaluate it. Is this a spot where I could jump back in, or, did I get stopped out for a reason? Is it going against my plan, etc.? Anyway, okay. FTFT felt good. Small loss. Small losses are okay. I think that paper trading is great, but like I said, and from a disclaimer point of view, everybody says paper trading, and it is good when you first start off to paper trade. But once you start understanding like how stocks kind of move and placing trades, there comes a point where you have to put money on the line, because it's a totally different world. I can paper trade and make 50 grand in a month, but that's not going to be the same thing as actually doing that in real life by any stretch of the imagination, because when you actually got thousands of dollars on the line, it's totally different. Your emotions are in there, and you're like, oh man, I'm down 100. Now I'm down 200, and it's just a totally different ballgame. So I think the key is to start paper trading. If I could do it all over again, instead of just jumping in like I did with not a big, but a decent sized account, and just trading like an idiot. If I did it all over again, I would start out paper trading and do that for maybe a month or two. And then I would put in, just the minimum amount and take very small trades at a broker where there's zero commissions. So that way it's not costing you a bunch in commissions, and you're just kind of doing your minimum day trades, but you actually got money on the line, and then you're getting the experience with the emotions. And then when you kind of start to get that, then you could maybe go to CMEG where you have to pay the commissions or put more money in, whatever. But yeah, it's just different whenever you have emotions in there. Dave thinks I'm a guru. Some days I'm a guru, some days I'm an idiot. I will say that I'm actually better at being a guru than I am at actually trading. And the people that are in my stock group would probably attest to that if any of them were in here on this live chat. Like my buddy, I told him to buy this stock here at, what was it? It was IBIO. Where was that? Man, was that way down here? Couldn't have been. I feel like I'm confusing myself. Could it really be up that much? I think it is up. No, it's not. That was a different stock. Oh, yeah. That's what. Okay. Yeah, I'm losing my mind here. IBIO was one that you guys had me pull up. For a second there, I was thinking that the stock I told my buddy to enter was all the way up at $1.73, and I'm like, what? There's no way. How could that have happened? I don't remember what the one was. It's one of the hot ones today. Oh, BIOL. That's what it was. I wanted to see what that one was at. It's still up there though. It still went, way higher than. This is the one that let me read the rest of this. I've been 45K on THMO. A lot of institution buys last couple of days, pushing up on the top. I have a patent for it home. COVID testing, plan my watch list a week in advance. Look at you go. Nice work, Dave. So you're better at the, it sounds like you're more of a swing trader. I don't have the patience to be a swing trader. I have attempted to be a swing trader. I've tried pretty much everything there is at this point, and I do not have the patience to hold overnight. There's so many different things that go wrong with the market will have some stupid news about stimulus getting rejected or whatever, and it'll tank and take 3 out of 4 stocks with it. 75% of stocks follow the market roughly. And so many different times that I was swing trading and I would be doing that, and then I would wake up and there'd be some news had nothing to do with my stock, and then I'm looking at this big loss. I don't know. I'm not good at it. I don't have the patience to do it overnight or for several days. It's different with like a 401k or where I just put money in it, over time, and I don't look at it. I don't know why I can do that. Into funds and stuff, but when I try to actually swing trade single stocks, I am terrible at it. We did look at THMO. I just can't remember if we talked about it or not. So anyway, big institutional buys. So you're kind of coming up on. Zoom in a little bit. So your first little hurdle there is going to be around, that 274-ish range, maybe? It's hard to see because it's kind of small. Yeah, 274 was a high there. In the 270s in there. So, yeah. And it looks like today, let's see, it popped through there right out of the gate. But yesterday it kind of topped out right in that same range, which is not a coincidence. That's one thing, over time, looking at charts and stuff, you learn that, it's not a coincidence. Sometimes you can't predict everything, of course, with the stock market. Otherwise, we'd all be rich. But you can look at probabilities and different points at which they could run into problems. So, without even looking at this, I could tell that looking at this chart down here on the daily chart that it would start possibly hitting some resistance area in the 270, 275 type of area. And then if we look at this yesterday and today, we can see that that's what happened so far. It's got up there in that 270, right at 270, and the high of 277. So poking up in that area when there's real low volume, post market and pre market, but not breaking through it and like keeping going at this point yet. So you can see that that's gonna be a possible spot, I would say. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call. What else? I was gonna say something else earlier, but I can't remember what it was. Anyway, yeah. If you had 30K today to trade only Tesla for a month, would you still day trade it or just leave it in the whole time? It's a good question. As far as this, by the way, Dave, I would be, you can see that level right there in the 230s is a key level. So watch that, because it's kind of where these other days it's kind of peaked out, and that ended up being support for these days. So that may end up being a key spot for you if your stock ends up going down. I would say watch those areas somewhere between the 230 and the 235. Preferably it wouldn't go any lower than the 235 that it's already double bottomed at right there and right there. But anyway, it double bottomed there because of these other tops, most likely. So just keep an eye on that level would be my advice to you if it starts going down. I don't know where you bought in or what your plan is or anything about it, but keep an eye on those levels in the next day or two. And then hopefully you see a curl. Hopefully it doesn't break those levels. In theory, what I would like to see for this to happen from looking at it right now, I'd like it to stay above 235, curl and maybe base, and head back up and break out past your 270s and head up there to maybe the, let's see, next level might be somewhere around $3 or so, and then maybe up to 325. So yeah, hopefully you'll break, get a little base, or maybe if you're really lucky, it'll just shoot up there tomorrow and keep going. But anyway, as far as the Tesla, oh, I know where I was going a long time ago. I was, before I got sidetracked rambling, I was going to say that there's days that I'm way better at being a guru than I am trading with my own money. A lot of the time in the group and stuff, I'll call out stuff. Like I told him to buy at 87 cents if it can hold around the 87-cent range and then start curling past that previous high. That'd be a good spot to buy because it's kind of a perfect cup and handle the way that it curls up and then forms the handle right there at the high of day, and then shoots back up. And he did that. I didn't do it with my own account, but I told him to do it, and he bought it, and then ended up so I don't know. He's still got some now, I think, but he sold some at $1, some at 96, some up here at 108, I think, or 107, and then is still holding a piece of it now. So yeah, and I did that on two other ones today that I was talking about in the group that I also did that on. Called out what was going to happen with it, spots to buy, places to sell and short, and all that perfectly, but didn't take the position myself. That's why it's so frustrating. Like, okay, I made 70 some bucks, but whoopee, so much more was on the table that I knew what was going to happen and didn't do it. And that's what I personally am trying to work on, is confidence. But when you've lost for several years and sucked for a long time at anything, it's hard to overcome that and get to that level where you're ready to put 10 grand back on the line, 20 grand, whatever. So this is a question from SZ, was if I had 30 grand to trade. Well, between my accounts, I do have 30 grand to trade. Would I trade Tesla or just leave it in the whole time? At this point, I don't know, it's pretty parabolic. I have a hard time. Tesla is very unpredictable. I mean, everybody knows that. It's known for being volatile. But look how overextended it looks right now. So it's hard to say because it's Tesla. But if it was me and I was holding a ton of it, I would have a hard time not selling it up here. I know that I play it safe now because I've lost money and all that for years. That I've learned to play things a lot safer. So maybe that's part of it. But I would have a hard time holding it at this point. I definitely would not feel comfortable putting my 30 grand into it right now. This is the 14-day. This is 5-minute chart, 14-day time period. So we might be able to actually go out 20 days. It just starts looking really extended to me. I'm going to look at it on a bigger chart. Let's look at, I mean, you never really know. But at some point, the stock's coming down. I can remember times when everybody said Tesla was going to keep going forever, and then eventually it does come down. It does pull back anyway. I mean, not necessarily come down, but I can remember this move here and feeling like that was pretty extended. And I mean, at that point, it's up a ton. Imagine it's up 500%, 1,000% or whatever from places that some people bought. But anyway. So then it kind of does one of these nice moves, kind of this pattern that I talk about. And I don't know why this thing, why can't you just, the arrow, why can't it just work every time? I just don't know. But anyway, kind of does one of these consolidations and then breaks out. So that would have been an awesome spot to buy it. And then nothing but up from there. But at this point, it looks pretty extended. And if you look at the RSI down here, which is these red lines, this is called RSI, which is Relative Strength Index. All I use that for, some people love it, some people hate it. It's just one of those indicators that, to me, what I use it for is if I'm questioning if I should buy a stock or not, like if I think I'm chasing it or not, and I'm kind of questioning that, or if I think it's going to bottom out, I'm looking for a bounce, etc. I'll glance at the RSI for that. So basically, when it's getting above this top line right here, it's what people would call overbought. That doesn't mean it can't go higher. As you can see, it was at that level here. Let me get my little crosshair thing. As you can see, it was overbought here. It kind of crossed into overbought at this point, but still continued to go up for a little ways. Then it started to test that line again, but still remained overbought even though it sold off a bit. So it's not like a live or die type of thing, but you can definitely see that it got, at one point, pretty overbought. And it did pull back, but it's still kind of up there in that overbought range. So like if I was a swing trader, and when I did try to swing trade, I paid more attention to that because if you're a swing trader and you're looking to hold long term, or if you're an investor, then it matters more that you buy it at a decent price. If you're going to hold it long term, you don't want to buy it up here and then watch it drop for a month. So for me, it's getting kind of high, but some people would say that it's going to go well over 1,000 again, even though they've already taken it back. But so yeah, would I day trade it at this point? I would day trade it more than I would just invest and hold it, because to me it looks like it is gonna be due for a pullback here before too long. It might go parabolic another several days. I mean, who knows, or even a month. There's no way to know. But for me anyway, glancing at it, I would say it looks like it's starting to get overbought. And another thing with these big blue chip companies and big stocks like Tesla that follow the market and stuff, a lot of it depends on that and what happens with elections and inaugurations and stimulus packages and all these different factors that also tie into it. But I would be more likely to day trade it. because it is a pretty volatile stock. It moves quite a bit. So if you're trading 30 grand of it without leverage, what is that? You can buy 30 grand divided by, it's 850 right now. So you could buy 35 shares without leverage, and it's moving $30, more than almost $40 in volatility. So yeah, you can make some money day trading it with 30 grand if you know where to buy and sell. Today, you could have bought this first pullback down towards VWAP, where it kind of tested that previous high. It might have touched it. Did it touch it? No, it didn't touch the pre-market high, but it did get down there. You could have bought the break of the pre-market high, or you could have waited for it to pull back down, or here again, kind of came back down and tested the highs and then bought it there. So there's opportunities on it to buy it if you got that kind of money to play with. I did that a lot whenever I started out. That's how I lost a lot of money. But I was using leverage too, so I was, having a $20, $30, $40,000 account and leverage on top of that. So taking, big positions I should not have been taking of stocks like, Tesla and Apple and big blue chip stocks. And I was wrong a lot and lost a lot of money. I've tried crypto too, although I only tried it for like a minute, and I quickly lost this was back when I also sucked at trading the stock market. So, maybe I'd be more successful at crypto now. But somebody was like, trade crypto. And I threw $500 in a Binance account and traded it and quickly lost that $500. I was like, yeah, I can't do that any better than I can do the stock market. There's no PDT, so that's cool. But I suck at that also. So yeah, I just lost that $500 too. Let's see. SPY went red, green. 16. Last month, Tesla had an ROI of around 37%. I mean, at that point, it would be different. Do you think you would make more if you were to day trade Tesla in the last month? More than 37%? Probably not. I think personally, and some might disagree with me, but I think that blue chips can be less predictable than the stocks that I trade, like low float momentum type stocks that I trade. I think they're more predictable than a lot of the bigger companies, just from my experience anyway. Like SPY, for instance, it loves to recover. It'll have these huge drops, and they always say buy the dip, and it's true because in a stock like this, it recovers a lot of the time. So a lot of the dips, you can buy a lot of the dips. So I guess if you get good at just buying the dips on something like SPY, or learn how to trade Tesla better. But me personally, I probably wouldn't make more than 37% on 30 grand of Tesla by day trading it in that period of time. And I think it matters a lot, like the time that you're talking about buying it is what I think matters. So if you bought it back, whatever a month ago would have been, what's today, the 12th? So like the 12th of November or of December would have been back here. Yeah, I would have liked it a lot better then. It looked a lot less extended then. It was still, a decent move. It was up quite a bit, but it had this previous high right here. So it was up past that quite a bit, but not like a ridiculous amount. That it was up maybe $100 over that. So I would have liked it better buying it there. If I was going to buy it here for a long-term hold, I'd feel more nervous about it. I would feel like, I'd have I'll look like an idiot, probably for saying this, but it would look like more of a short here at this point. And everything, like I talk to my friends about all the time, all the advice that you get from any stock trader, like in the moment regarding a stock, goes out the window like minutes later. A lot of the time, some news or something will happen, and the stock will drop big, and oh man, it's definitely bearish now, or some other news with the market will happen, and this will shoot up here and be testing this high, and then I'd be saying, okay, now we're looking at a possible breakout scenario, so it might be going to go higher. So anyway, I guess the answer would be depends on where you're buying at. But if you'd bought it a month ago, is the odds that you would have made more money day trading it? I'd say no. I'd say you probably would have made more money just holding through that move. I'm holding BTC, XLM, LTC, longer term. My little brother is into crypto. He's got crypto. I think that's who got me into it. But yeah, wish he wouldn't have. I just lost $500 trying to trade it. I thought about getting back into it, but I don't know. I like trading. I also found with crypto, whenever I tried to do it anyway, and it could be different now, but when I tried to do it, almost every altcoin or whatever they're called, I guess they're called altcoins, followed Bitcoin so much that it was like ridiculous. I would try to trade like an individual altcoin, and all it did was follow what Bitcoin was doing. So you might as well just trade Bitcoin at that point. And I have no idea what it's like now. I don't look at it now, but at that time anyway, I got frustrated because I'm like, it doesn't even matter what happens with this altcoin. All it does is do exactly what Bitcoin does, but on a smaller scale. I day trade with crypto, but I'm still hesitant to start day trading stocks. Thanks for helping me understand more about this. You're very welcome. Thanks for watching and chatting. What do you use for a scanner at the moment? As you explained, trades don't happen at the moment. Most alts are traded against Bitcoin. Interesting. So they don't follow Bitcoin now, or they do. I don't know. I guess maybe I should look at it. I do keep seeing the news that Bitcoin's at whatever 40,000 or something. I predicted once upon a time that whenever Bitcoin was at 5,000, it went to like 20,000, came down to like 5 or 6, and I know at that point I did some research and it was thinking about buying it, and I didn't. I was like, I'm not going to buy it. But anyway, I read some stuff talking about how it was going to go to 90K by the next halving. After this last one, between that one and the next halving, it was going to go to 90K, and all of the reasoning behind it made total sense. So if I had a ton of money, like if I had hundreds of thousands of dollars that I needed to just put away and hide from the hyperinflation that's likely to occur from our current situation of devaluing our dollar, I would probably have parked it in Bitcoin, because I do think it's going to continue to go higher, even though it's probably pulling back now, but before the next halving, just because it's the principles of it are kind of the opposite of the fiat currency that we have with our dollar. Anyway, the traded LTC, ATC, no, I guess so BTC goes up, so does the alt. Okay, gotcha. So it is kind of the same thing. I don't use a scanner at the moment, and like pre-market and stuff, I've just been going to YouTube and looking up people that are streaming live their scanners. So you don't even have to pay for a scanner. I haven't paid for a scanner yet because I've been having a long string of green days. Not that they've been big by any means. I'm not making $14,000 or whatever like David is in the last month, but I've had a nice big long string of green days and not had some big red days or anything. So I haven't been too worried about it. That's why I haven't paid for trade ideas or done anything with it. And I got that email from E-Trade saying that they're going to revamp the E-Trade, the Power E-Trade scanner, and make it where you can customize it. And I'm kind of holding my breath that maybe they're going to do that, and I can either have that in the corner of my screen or they'll put it back on Pro. Maybe they'll pull their heads from their anuses and they'll realize that their Pro traders might actually want a scanner and they'll put it back on here. But in the meantime, I just go to YouTube and search for live trading scanners, and you can find people that are just showing trade ideas scanners, all the percent gainers and the high of day momentum scanner, all the different scanners that you would want. People are streaming them live on YouTube for free. There's going to be a little bit of lag time, but it helps you find the hot stocks, which is all I need, because typically when I first click on a stock, it's not in a spot where I'm going to immediately buy it. So I'm usually just looking for the hottest stocks of the day and what's moving. And then like the high of day breakout scanner, the high of day scanner, that's helpful. When you're looking at stocks that are approaching the high of day, making new highs, then those you got to kind of jump on. But overall, you can kind of get a list. So what I've been doing myself is just doing that. I go on YouTube and search people that are streaming their scanner live in the mornings, and I'm looking at that, and then I'm kind of putting those into my different platforms and looking to see what looks interesting and what doesn't, looking for setups. And then throughout the day, I just look at my screeners, Market Watch and Stock Screener on FinViz, and just from that, it's kind of one of those things that from like when you start trading, and don't get me wrong, I would love to have a scanner, and if E-Trade brought theirs back, that'd be great. And I'll probably ultimately end up buying Trade Ideas or one of those, most likely Trade Ideas, and doing that. That's probably going to happen. But at this point, it's one of those things where it's not as important. Like the longer you get into trading and the more comfortable you are with trading, the more you realize that you're really just looking, for me anyway, for the kind of stocks that I trade, which is the low float momentum, hottest stocks of the day, the ones that day traders are looking at. You can kind of get an idea of those from a number of different sources, and then it's just a matter of watching those until they develop into the pattern that you're looking for, the setup that you're looking for. So, of course, it's way better to have a scanner, and I'm still mad that E-Trade got rid of theirs, but it hasn't been the end of the world for me so far. I've been actually profitable the whole time since, I believe the whole time since losing my scanner. I've been profitable the whole time. Maybe a red day or two here and there, but so that's just me personally. Yeah, I'll probably pay for a scan at some point, but as of now, I just haven't been too worried about it. I just find the hottest stocks and then watch them all day, looking for the different setups that I like. And I'll refresh those screeners, throughout the day to see if anything pops up that might be moving that I didn't see. It would be boring to watch me go live. You should use FinViz. Yeah, I use FinViz. It's a screener. Yeah, that's what I use. I typically use Market Watch, which is one that I've got. Market Watch and FinViz are the screeners that I use. The scanners, I just stream live on YouTube, somebody's scanner at the moment. The screeners, they're free. Market Watch has a good one, and FinViz both. So one of them I have toggled and set up in my toolbar, like at the top of my screen, and it's got my presets in it, looking for low float stocks that are like the low float momentum stocks. It's already toggled and it's in there, and it's saved in my bookmarked, I guess you call it, in my little top of the screen. I don't the top of the screen area. So when I click on that, it automatically screens the market for those criteria just by clicking that one button. And then same thing with my FinViz one, but that one I've just got toggled to the percent gainers with a certain volume. So with that one, I'm looking for, in case there's a stock that's not a lower float, but it's still moving a crazy amount, I use the FinViz one for that. So that way I kind of get the best of both worlds. And I have, yeah, like I said, both of those, I've saved the settings in, and then I've bookmarked that exact thing to my bookmark screen. So that way, just one click and it screens. You might have to click refresh, but anyway, you don't have to change the criteria all the time. Oh, we can trade together. Remember, we're stronger as one. Yeah, a lot of people have asked me to go live, and I probably will do that at some point. It's just that it's stressful enough trading and trying to make money, because I do show what I make every day or lose. So I'm already, I want to make money, first of all, because I want to make money. Second of all, because I do these live streams, or have been anyway, almost every day. So I show it then. So I want to make money. And like, a lot of my day is boring. If you were to watch me trade all day, I'm not like, there's these one guys, it might be the Boiler Room, I could be wrong, but Boiler Room, I think it might be. Does that sound familiar to anybody? I don't know. There's these guys that stream live on YouTube, and they trade more blue chips, but they're just like bam, 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 between the two or three of them, or however many there are. It's like, I just went long on such and such, just got out of that position, just went long on this, I'm short on this, and they've got, multiple positions at multiple times, and they're trading a bunch of money, and it's exciting, and like they're doing all this stuff. For me, you'd just be sitting there staring at my ugly mug while I stare at a handful of stocks for like the majority of the day, looking for a setup that I feel like is safe enough to take my little trade on. So it's not that exciting to watch, and adds like a degree of stress to everything. Even Ross talks about that, and like I've said, he's kind of what I strive to be. I'd love to make. He made $5 million last year trading, so I would love to do that. And he's a scalper. He does kind of the same strategies that I do, and yeah. Anyway, I'd like to be like him. And he even talks about how stressful it is to share all your trades and go live all the time and do all that, and how it adds like a degree of difficulty to it because you're stressed out. So the emotional side of it becomes that much more, because you've got people there and you're trying to talk to them in the chat, and explain to them while you're doing it, like in real time, why you're getting in the position, why you're getting out of the position, and all that. It just gets really stressful, and I'm not good enough to do it, honestly. So if I get better, I will definitely do that, and I guess I'm getting there. It's just a long journey. I remember when I started 5 years ago thinking that, and there was days, back then that I did have $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 days. So, and I remember thinking like, I'm going to quit my job. I'm definitely quitting my job within the next few months, because this is way, way better. And, why wouldn't I? I'm only going to get better from here. And then the next thing I know, I'm losing tons of money left and right. Yeah, exactly. He lost 41K today. Imagine, like, to him, I guess it's nothing, because it's, he's definitely a multi-millionaire. I would say pretty confidently that he makes more money from teaching people to trade than he does from trading. I would say there's a very high odds probability that he makes more money selling his courses and his chat room and his, all his different stuff, and than he does actually trading. So it's pretty safe to say he's a multi-millionaire. So losing $41,000, probably not the most painful thing. It's actually probably just as, if not more painful to him, to lose 40 grand because of the hits that he's taken with these red days in a row, and people watching him lose, all that money, and the stress that it causes him, and him being, you know, I'm teaching people how to trade, but I'm losing $41,000. It's hard to. I'm sure he feels some type of way about that. Dave says, and SD, they say you're real. That's much better. Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad that you guys feel that way and like it. But yeah, 41K to his 5 mil is a drop in the bucket. Exactly. And I mean, like I said, he makes more money. I would almost guarantee he makes more money from teaching than trading. Because imagine if he doesn't monetize his channel, his YouTube channel. So he's not making money from YouTube, even though he's getting whatever 30,000 views a day, 40,000, whatever. He doesn't monetize his channel, or at least the last I knew he didn't. Which tells you, why would he do that? If he can make $5 million trading the market, why would he bother doing it live on YouTube and doing these courses and chat rooms? I mean, there's an immense amount of work that goes into doing all that on top, when you could just sit back and trade for literally 20 minutes a day or an hour a day, a couple hours a day, and make 5 million in a year. Why would you do all the other stuff he does? So I would almost guarantee it's because he makes more money from the teaching side. So it's really dropping a bucket. You make $10 million a year between teaching and trading, 41 grand. Who cares? But it does hurt your image because there's people that are joining your program that day, paying. I don't know what his program costs, but it's probably $1,000 or something, more than that maybe. I don't know. And they're like, wow, I just paid $1,000 to watch this guy who lost $41,000 a day. But no hate to Ross. I mean, like I said, he's kind of one of my heroes, and I hope someday I can be as good as him. That would be awesome. But I'm sure it's pretty terrible for him to go on a streak of red days and be in that situation with people all watching you, 30,000 people watching you live a day. Yeah, so trading is one of those things with the IRS that's really a gray area, complicated gray area, but him for sure qualifies as a trader, I'm sure. And even he's definitely writing off a lot of stuff. He's doing all right. He's doing all right. Most people, even if you trade, don't qualify as traders. So you can only take the max loss as an investor, which is like 2 grand or 2,500 or something. I can't remember, but it's somewhere around there. Compared to if you can be classified as a trader, a day trader, then you can write off a ton of stuff with like your home and your office expenses. If you're trading from home, you can write off tons of stuff with your house and your a lot more of your losses. It's just a game changer from the tax stance if you're a trader instead of an investor. And the definition of trader is really gray. From what I gathered from talking to a CPA, a lot of it comes down to like where your main income comes from. So up until this year anyway, I've lost money trading, but I've made money working. So my full-time income and stuff has never been trading, so I've never been where I would probably qualify as like a trader. But I guess if I start scaling up and trade more and don't take a job, then between YouTube and trading, I guess maybe I could be a trader this year. Could be my first year being a real live trader. The few days I'm green and he's red. I'm better than Ross today. What's up, Ross? Ross, I know you watch my channel. Ross Cameron with Warrior Trading. I emailed Ross, by the way. He never emailed me back, so not cool, Ross. I know you're watching me. I know you always watch my live streams, Ross. So just so you know, I'm better than you today. Made like $73 and you lost $41,000. So today you suck and I'm awesome. Tomorrow, we won't get into tomorrow, but today. Yeah, he does donate a lot also. I think he's a really good dude. I don't know him personally, but I would like to. I did reach out to him. I want to know him personally. So that would be cool. And maybe he just hasn't got around to it yet, and one of his people will call my people, which is just me, at some point. And I want to interview him and talk to him. I want to meet him and interview him. What my idea was to interview him for my YouTube channel. So I was trying to get him to do that. I was interested in his affiliate program too, because I talk him up all the time and talk about, how he's one of the reasons that I started to turn my trading journey around, and that, he's one of my heroes. So I wanted to do affiliate stuff with him, and I wanted to interview him for my YouTube channel, but he hasn't got back to me yet. Yes, I did watch that. You might have even sent it to me, but I haven't talked to my tax person yet this year. Have your trading tax there, but they don't talk about how you do. You know the requirements for that. I've been able to find that information. Yeah, it's a pretty. It gets complicated with our wonderful IRS tax code, so I don't know. I always have done my own taxes every year, but this year I think that I might not do that. So, assuming that I don't, typically other years I've had like my main job and then like a side hustle, but this year I've got my main job. I got paid from the union. I got YouTube earnings and two different trading brokerages and contracting for my brother's companies and all these different things. So it's going to be way more complicated doing all my taxes and stuff this year. So perhaps this year I will actually use a CPA, and he can advise me on that. I do have an LLC that is called Nomad Trading. So in theory, I am already trading, under that LLC. So I don't know why, if that is the case, when I talk to a CPA, I don't know why I couldn't do that. I did watch those videos too, by the way, Kev. I think you sent them to me, but I could be wrong. I get quite a few emails, but somebody sent me emails about trading and using an LLC and all that. And it got pretty technical in there. I watched them and I was following some of it, but I'm definitely not a CPA. So it got kind of complex in there where I wasn't sure if I was following what they were trying to say. Let's see. You should reach out to Meet Kevin. Heard he's pretty responsive. I should. That's a good idea. And he does do stock type stuff and finance type stuff. That's another aspect that I would like to get into with this, with my YouTube channel, just that I would enjoy. I think that the people would enjoy, but one idea that I had anyway was going around and interviewing some of not just interviewing because people do that, but I kind of want to interview and do a behind the scenes at their house with their cars and houses and things of these top traders, the people whoever, Ross or Roland Wolf or Tim Grittani or any of those people that are known in the trading world and have definitely made well over $1 million trading and all that stuff. Because I thought people would really be interested to see, more interviews with them from like real people, and then kind of see like how they live, not show their address and all that, of course, but I'm sure they got cool cars and cool houses and inspirational things. That's how Tim Sykes got like most of the, I don't know about most, but a huge portion of people that are in day trading now have come by way of Tim Sykes and his Ferraris and Lamborghinis and all that stuff. People love seeing that, and I like seeing it. It's cool. If I ever get rich one day, I will have a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or something cool like that. So, fingers crossed on that. Anyway, you're a fan and member, don't get me wrong. Started this venture maybe 8 months ago. I don't ever see looking back. I agree. Okay. I think I need to get off here. We've been on, I don't know about how long all of you have been in here without scrolling up, but some of you have definitely been in here a long time. And I've been doing this for 2 hours and 15 minutes. I cannot believe that. But yeah, this thing has been 2 hours and 15 minutes long. That's craziness. But I like it. When I don't have a bunch of stuff going on and I don't have to like get out of here and I can just chill, it's my favorite time, hanging out in here and actually talking to my subscribers and people that are just starting their trading journey and kind of in similar situations. It's fun looking at the different stocks and talking about all this different stuff. Kind of wondering if Tesla, like the more I look at it, kind of wondering if it's going to have a breakout day, because it's kind of consolidating. You could draw somewhat of a consolidation pattern here where it's getting tighter and tighter. Could break down, but I mean, could also break up. You never know. Might be back up here testing the 880s tomorrow. We'll see. Meet Kevin. He's got a lot of Tesla, or he did. I don't know if he does or not. But yeah. Okay. I need to get out of here. Do I do this every weekday? I try to. Yes. I try to. I can't guarantee it. So it depends on, like, there's times where, like, I know one of the days this week, I'd have to check my schedule. One of the days this week, I have a dentist appointment for me and the kids, and it will be during that time. So that day, I think it might be Thursday, I won't be in here that day. I mean, things come up. But I do the best I can to try to be in here like 15 minutes, 20 minutes after the closing bell. I am in Central Time, by the way. Chiefs country. So, anyway, yeah. Y'all have a great evening. Thanks for coming in and spending all this time. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I look forward to it in the future. And the more people we get in here, the more fun it is. So maybe one day there'll be like 50 or 100 people in here. Of course, then I can't keep up, so there's the downside to that where we can't talk as much. But still, it's fun. I think it's fun. Bill's got your number. Actually, I'm a little worried about that. That could happen. This year we've been playing up to the level of our competition and not just barely higher than that. So that's not a good place to be going into the postseason. You start facing difficult teams, and that level of play doesn't quite get it done. So, yeah. Have a great evening. I will see you all tomorrow, God willing. Same time, same place. Have a great evening.